Hey everybody, we just stepped off the dais from today's big budget vote here at the council. So I want to give you a quick recap of a couple of things. Now, if you remember back when the budget came to the council, I thought it was going to do a lot of damage. It had huge cuts to a lot of the ways in which we need to grow our city, a lot of protections on climate and energy, on transportation, and I'm glad that today's budget is remarkably better and just a huge improvement, frankly. So I chair the Committee on Transportation and the Environment, and that we've been able to really put a lot of our investment forward in making safer streets and moving people around. We're able to restore a lot of the cuts that we were seeing at the Department of Energy and the Environment. So I really think that those are some smart ways that we will put this budget back together again. We've been able to also restore a lot on paid family leave, on housing, on healthcare. Now, we're not done yet. We still have a second vote coming up on July 28th, so still a lot of work that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. One big item that I wanted to highlight for you that I think the news will probably pick up on as well, there was an effort to essentially try to rewrite Initiative 82, which is the tipped minimum wage law in DC. I was not comfortable with kind of what got put in front of us at the very last minute, which would actually lower wages for workers and frankly add more confusion to tipping and service charges. So the majority of us kind of banded together, frankly, to say, let's get that out. Let's spend the next 2 weeks really trying to figure out how to land this plane. How do we get this right? I think I am hearing from restaurants and from workers that ID2 hasn't worked exactly the way that people have wanted it to, but at the same time, people really want to make sure that we are supporting workers and raising wages. So I think that we can find a solution that both supports our restaurants that we all love and we want to take care of, and make sure we're doing right by workers. So I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks really work with my colleagues to see if we can find a really good spot to make sure that that passes as part of the budget for our final vote. Lastly, we did have a few other non-budget items on our agenda today. One big one that we just finished right now was on how we're going to do a better job of forcing DC Water to communicate with tenants and their ratepayers if someone is in arrears and they've got to do any type of shutoff. That should be the absolute last resort. And how do we make sure that we have more disclosure, better information for everybody? Because frankly, we found there's a lot of tenants who think they're paying, and it's the landlord or the property manager that's not actually paying DC Water. So a very full agenda. Most of it was on the budget. We had a few other items today, but hopefully that's a helpful recap for you.